The planet was silent. Its red dust swirled in small storms, and the sky glowed with strange shades of purple and orange. Alex, the human explorer, stepped carefully on the rocky surface. His boots crunched against the hard ground as he scanned the horizon. He had traveled far from Earth, following rumors of a lost spaceship that no one had ever returned from. The ship was said to contain secrets that could change humanity forever. As he moved closer to a ridge, Alex saw it, half buried in dust, its metal frame broken and scarred. The spaceship looked abandoned, like it had been there for hundreds of years. Its surface shimmered faintly under the strange sunlight, and strange shapes seemed to flicker behind its shattered windows. Something about it made Alex's heart beat faster. He walked slowly toward the entrance, his hand resting on the laser tool at his belt. Every step made the ground vibrate slightly, and the wind whispered through the wrecked ship like a warning. As Alex stepped inside, the air smelled old and metallic. Dust floated in the beams of light that entered through cracks in the hull. Then he saw it, a glass cage standing alone in the center of the room. Inside, a woman-like figure sat curled up, but she was not human. Her skin was pale with a faint blue glow, and her eyes were large and bright, reflecting the weak sunlight. Her hair floated slightly, as if she was underwater. Alex froze. His mind raced. Who could have left her here, and why? The alien woman looked at him. Her eyes were wide, filled with fear, but also something else. Curiosity? Hope? Alex couldn't tell. She did not speak, yet her gaze seemed to reach into his mind. She raised a hand slowly and pointed to the lock on the cage. Alex took a deep breath. He tried the controls, but nothing worked. The cage was sealed, locked tight by technology he didn't recognize. A sudden sound echoed. From deep inside the ship, a soft clanging, like metal hitting metal. Alex turned, his heart thumping in his chest. Shadows moved along the walls. He gripped his tool tighter. The alien woman's eyes darted toward the noise. She moved closer to the glass, pressing her hand against it, signaling him silently. Alex understood. They were not alone. The ship's lights flickered, casting long, strange shadows across the room. Dust danced in the air like tiny ghosts. Alex noticed symbols etched into the walls, alien writing, glowing faintly. His curiosity grew, but so did his fear. Every instinct screamed at him to leave, but he couldn't. Not when someone, or something, needed help. He circled the cage, examining it from every angle. Strange wires and tubes ran along its surface. The lock seemed to pulse slightly, reacting to his presence. The alien woman's eyes followed him, urging him on. Alex realized something important. This was not just a prison. It was a test. Someone or something wanted to make sure she could not escape. Another sound startled him, a low mechanical hum from the corner of the room. Something large was moving in the shadows. Alex froze, trying to calm his racing heart. He thought about leaving, but the woman's gaze held him in place. She was counting on him. Her hand pressed harder against the glass, and Alex swore he saw a flicker of intelligence, a silent message that said, "Please." He knelt and examined the lock again. Strange symbols glowed faintly as he touched the metal. The lock reacted but didn't open. He realized it was not a simple mechanism. It was advanced, alien technology, far beyond human understanding. Alex's mind worked quickly. He remembered old Earth stories about machines that could sense emotions. He focused, thinking of calm and trust. The lock pulsed again, but it remained closed. Suddenly, the floor trembled slightly. Dust fell from the ceiling. The alien woman's eyes widened, and she whispered a sound Alex could not understand. He looked around. Shadows flickered in the corners of the room. Something, or someone, was coming closer. He had little time. His hand brushed the glass again, and the alien mirrored him, moving in sync. Alex's mind raced. He had to find a way to open the cage. He had to save her. But what if the ship itself was dangerous? What if leaving meant triggering a trap? He looked at her face, her fear, her hope, her trust. And then he made a decision. He would not leave, not until he tried everything. The hum grew louder. Shadows stretched across the room like fingers. The alien woman's hand pressed firmly against the glass. Alex nodded silently. "I will save you," he thought. And in that moment, the first spark of connection formed between them. A bond made without words. A promise that one human would risk everything for an alien stranger. The discovery had been made. The adventure was just beginning. The ship seemed to breathe. Shadows shifted along the walls, stretching and twisting like living creatures. Alex felt a chill run down his spine as he stepped closer to the glass cage. The alien woman inside watched him carefully. Her eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the dim light. She did not speak, but her gaze carried a message. Hurry, before it's too late. Alex knelt and studied the lock again. Strange symbols glimmered softly, pulsing as if alive. His fingers brushed the metal. Nothing happened at first. Then, a faint vibration traveled up his arm. The cage seemed to sense him, reacting in a way he could not understand. Alex took a deep breath. He had no tools that could break alien metal. He had only his courage and quick thinking. A sudden click echoed through the room. Alex jumped. The floor beneath him shivered. The lights flickered violently. He realized the ship was not just old and abandoned. It was alive in some way. Energy ran through the walls like invisible veins. Every sound, every movement seemed amplified. The alien woman pressed her hand against the glass, her eyes wide with urgency. Alex understood. Whatever danger was coming, they could not wait. He touched the symbols again, trying to remember everything he had studied on Earth about alien technology. It was a puzzle, a lock built not only with metal, but with energy and willpower. Suddenly, a deep hum filled the room. The air grew heavy, vibrating with tension. Alex could feel the vibrations in his chest. Shadows stretched across the walls, merging into shapes he could not identify. Something large was moving, something alive, or perhaps controlled by the ship itself. Alex froze. He could hear it now, a scraping, like metal dragging across metal, slow and deliberate. The alien woman flinched, pressing against the glass. She let out a soft, high-pitched sound that Alex could feel more than hear. It was not fear, it was a warning. The danger was close. He looked around the room for anything that could help. Broken pieces of the ship littered the floor. Sparks flew from damaged panels. The hum grew louder, almost painful. Then Alex saw it, a control panel, half buried in dust. Its screen flickered weakly. He rushed to it, brushing away layers of grime. Symbols flashed on the screen. He didn't understand them completely, but one symbol glowed brighter than the others. The shape matched the lock on the cage. Alex reached out and touched it. A jolt of energy surged through his fingers. Pain shot up his arm, but he gritted his teeth and held on. The cage shuddered. The alien woman's eyes widened, glowing brighter than before. Alex realized something. Her presence was helping. The cage was responding not only to his touch but to her life force. But the ship was not going to let them succeed easily. From somewhere deep inside, a low growl rumbled. The floor vibrated and shadows moved faster. A section of the wall cracked and a small mechanical drone slid into the room, its glowing eyes fixed on Alex. He raised his tool, but it was no ordinary robot. Its body shifted fluidly, almost alive. It moved with a precision that suggested intelligence. Alex's heart raced. He could not fight it head-on. He backed toward the cage, using it as a shield. The alien woman watched, calm but tense. Then instinctively, Alex reached out again to the lock. The vibration intensified, the symbols pulsing faster. He focused, imagining the cage opening, imagining freedom. The drone advanced, spinning and whirring, its metal claws reaching for him. Sparks flew as it attacked. Alex dodged, rolling across the floor. The alien woman pressed harder against the glass. Energy radiated from her, small waves that hit the drone, making it falter. Alex saw an opening. With a sudden burst of strength, he struck the lock. A sharp crack echoed through the room. The cage shook violently. The alien woman grasped the edges, holding herself steady. Alex pressed harder, ignoring the burning pain in his hands. The drone lunged again, but she extended her hand. Her energy surged like a shield. The metal beast staggered, sparks flying. Alex took the final blow to the lock. Glass shattered, falling in shards around them, and the cage door swung open. The alien woman stepped out slowly, her movements elegant and controlled. She looked at Alex, a mixture of gratitude and relief in her eyes. But there was no time to celebrate. The ship trembled violently, as if angry at the cage being opened. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Panels exploded, sending debris across the floor. Alex grabbed the alien woman's arm. "We need to move, now!" he shouted. The hum grew louder, almost deafening. Shadows stretched like fingers, reaching for them. Whatever had been dormant inside the ship was waking up, and it was angry. Together, they ran down the corridor. The alien woman's eyes darted around, sensing the dangers ahead. Alex followed her lead, trusting her instincts even though he barely understood them. The ship seemed to shift around them, as if trying to trap them inside. Every corner hid a new threat. And then Alex understood. This was only the beginning. The risk had only just begun. Saving her had triggered something alive, something that would not let them escape easily. He glanced at her, and she nodded slightly, as if reading his thoughts. They were in this together. The ship was alive, the danger was real, and the human and the alien were not ready for what came next. The corridors of the ship were dark, twisting, and endless. Sparks rained from broken panels, and the hum of energy vibrated in every step. Alex kept his eyes forward, trying to ignore the fear rising in his chest. Beside him, the alien woman moved gracefully, almost gliding over the cracked metal floor. Despite her calm movements, Alex could see the tension in her eyes. She was aware of everything, the smallest shadow, the faintest sound, every hidden corner of the ship. After a few minutes of running, they reached a small room, sealed and quiet. Alex leaned against the wall, trying to catch his breath. The alien woman stopped a few feet away and turned toward him. She raised her hand slowly, palm open, and waited. He hesitated, but then extended his hand too. For a moment, their fingers almost touched. A faint glow ran between them, a strange warmth that made the hairs on his neck stand up. She spoke then softly, in a voice he could barely understand. The words were strange, but somehow he felt their meaning. Danger is everywhere. Must leave soon. Alex nodded, understanding more from her tone and gestures than the words themselves. He realized she was trying to communicate not just with words, but with emotions, energy, and instinct. Alex took a deep breath. "I can help you," he said. "I don't know how, but I'll try." The alien woman's eyes widened slightly. She tilted her head, almost in curiosity. Then she pressed her hand to her chest and nodded slowly. A flicker of trust had formed between them. The room was small and bare, with broken machinery scattered around. Alex examined the panels, trying to see if there was anything that could help them escape. The alien woman stepped closer, her eyes scanning the walls and ceiling. She pointed to a panel above his head. Alex reached up, brushing away dust and debris. Symbols glowed faintly. As he touched them, he felt a tingle run up his arm, almost like electricity, but warmer, more alive. The alien woman placed her hand on the panel, and suddenly, the symbols shifted. They pulsed with light in a rhythm that seemed to match her heartbeat. Alex stepped back, amazed. She was not just an alien, she was part of the ship in some way, able to interact with its technology. But why? And why had she been locked in the cage? Before he could think further, the room shook violently. The hum grew louder, almost deafening. The ship was aware of their presence, and it did not like it. Sparks flew from the ceiling, and a section of the floor buckled. Shadows crept along the walls, forming shapes that moved like living snakes. Alex grabbed the alien woman's arm. "We have to go, now!" She nodded and followed him into the corridor. As they ran, Alex realized something important. She was teaching him. With each step, her gestures guided him, where to avoid, where to step, where danger might be waiting. He had thought he was saving her, but in truth, she was saving him too. They reached a larger chamber, filled with strange machinery. The alien woman paused and looked at Alex, her eyes serious. Then she pointed to a glowing sphere in the center of the room. Alex approached it carefully. The sphere pulsed with energy, and as he touched it, memories flashed in his mind. Not his own, but hers. He saw visions of a beautiful planet, destroyed by fire and war, and of her people running from something monstrous. He felt her fear, her loss, her loneliness. Alex stepped back, overwhelmed. The alien woman placed a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was gentle, comforting, and somehow powerful. He realized that trust was forming, not just between human and alien, but between two beings who were now linked by a shared purpose. He looked into her eyes and nodded. Together, they would face whatever came next. But the ship was far from finished. From deep within, a low, mechanical roar echoed through the corridors. Shadows moved faster, and sparks began to rain from above. The alien woman's eyes narrowed. She gestured toward a narrow exit hidden in the shadows. Alex followed her lead, trusting her instincts completely. As they moved, she began to make soft sounds again, and this time, Alex tried to respond. He mimicked her tones, and she seemed pleased, giving a small nod. Their communication was primitive, but it worked. They did not need words. Each understood the other's intentions, fears, and hopes. The narrow corridor led them to a larger hall. Here, the energy of the ship pulsed stronger, almost like a heartbeat. Alex could feel it under his feet. The alien woman reached out and placed both hands on the wall. Light spread along the metal, illuminating symbols and pathways. She looked at him and gestured toward a door at the far end. Alex nodded, understanding that this was their path forward. Just as they reached the door, the floor shook violently again. A loud crash echoed from behind them. Something massive was moving through the ship, searching for them. Alex glanced at the alien woman. She met his gaze without fear, only determination. Together, they pushed the door open and stepped into the unknown. Alex realized then that the bond they had formed was stronger than fear. Trust, even in the darkest place, could be more powerful than any weapon. The ship was alive, the danger was real, but together, they were ready to face it. And somewhere deep inside, Alex knew that this connection, the trust between a human and an alien, was the first spark of something greater. The ship groaned around them, its metal walls trembling with each pulse of energy. Sparks rained from the ceiling, and smoke twisted through the corridors like living shadows. Alex tightened his grip on his tool, feeling the heat of the sparks on his skin. Beside him, the alien woman moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. Her eyes glowed brighter than before, reflecting determination, and something else, a quiet urgency. They reached a large chamber, the remnants of what seemed to be a control hub. In the center, the shattered cage lay, broken but still humming with residual energy. Alex approached it carefully, noticing that the fragments of glass were suspended slightly above the floor, as if held by invisible forces. The air around it crackled with power, making his hair stand on end. The alien woman stepped closer, her hands raised slightly. She whispered a sound that resonated in the room, a low vibration that Alex could feel in his chest. The glass shards shivered, spinning gently, but they did not fall. Alex realized that she was somehow controlling the remnants of the cage, and the energy from the ship responded to her presence. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the chamber. The ship itself seemed to come alive, walls bending slightly, doors slamming shut on their own. Shadows twisted along the edges, forming shapes that moved with intent. The ship did not want them to leave. Alex glanced at the alien woman. "We have to get out now," he shouted. She nodded and placed her hands on the floor, sending a wave of energy through the metal. The shards of glass began to rise, forming a protective barrier around them. Alex realized the danger. Breaking the cage had triggered something deeper inside the ship. Security systems, long dormant, were activating. Mechanical drones slid out from hidden panels, their claws extended, glowing red eyes scanning for intruders. Sparks flew as they attacked. Alex swung his tool, cutting one in half, while the alien woman's energy shield deflected another. Together they were unstoppable, but the ship was relentless. He looked at the shattered cage. The lock mechanism, though broken, still pulsed with energy. It seemed to call to her, a tether holding the alien woman in place. Alex understood immediately. They needed to sever it completely, or the ship would keep trying to pull her back. He stepped forward, ignoring the sparks and shards flying around. "I'll do it," he shouted, gripping a piece of broken metal to pry open the remaining lock. The alien woman touched his shoulder lightly, and he felt a surge of strength flow through him. The shards around them glowed brighter, forming a protective aura. He pushed harder, twisting the metal with all his might. The lock resisted, sending shockwaves through the floor. Alex stumbled, but the alien woman steadied him with her hand. Energy pulsed between them, bright and hot. Then, with a loud crack, the last piece of the lock shattered. A wave of light exploded from the cage, and the shards spun outward, vanishing into the walls. The alien woman stepped free completely, her eyes shining with relief and power. But there was no time to celebrate. The ship shrieked violently, and the floor beneath them began to tilt. Sparks flew from the walls, and a shadow darker than any other moved in the corner. Alex grabbed the alien woman's arm. "Run!" he yelled. Together, they dashed toward the corridor, dodging falling debris and flickering energy fields. The alien woman guided him with precise gestures, signaling which paths were safe. Alex followed her, his trust in her instincts growing with every step. They reached a door, sealed with alien symbols. She touched it lightly, and it slid open with a hiss. Beyond it, a narrow passage led upward toward what Alex hoped was freedom. As they moved through the passage, his roar grew louder. The walls shook violently, forcing them to duck and dodge. A sudden explosion sent a cloud of smoke and debris rolling toward them. Alex stumbled, but the alien woman caught him, lifting him effortlessly. Her energy shield expanded around them, deflecting the worst of the flying shards. They finally reached a larger chamber, one that seemed to serve as the ship's escape hub. Small pods lined the walls, some cracked and broken. Alex's eyes scanned for one that might work. The alien woman pointed to a single pod, its exterior scratched, but intact. He nodded and helped her climb inside. She pressed a hand to the controls, and they hummed to life. The pod shook violently as the ship's systems attempted one last attack. Shadows twisted along the walls outside the pod's window. Alex gripped the seat, holding on as the pod rose. The alien woman's eyes glowed with energy, and she extended her hand, sending a pulse that pushed the shadows back. The ship shrieked in anger, metal bending and tearing as they moved upward. Then, with a final roar, the pod shot through a vent and out into open space. Stars stretched across the window, and the red planet below became smaller with every passing second. Alex exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. The alien woman turned toward him, her eyes softening. No words were spoken. They didn't need them. Trust had been formed, and a bond had been sealed. But even as the pod floated in the emptiness of space, Alex knew the danger was far from over. The ship had tried to stop them, but something, or someone, had placed a target on their backs. And the alien woman, though free for now, carried secrets and power that could change everything. The breakout was complete. They had survived, but survival was only the beginning of a much larger journey. The pod shuddered as it shot through the emptiness of space. Stars streaked past the small viewport like rivers of light, and below them, the red planet grew smaller with every second. Alex gripped the edge of his seat, muscles tight, as he tried to steady his breathing. The alien woman sat beside him, calm and focused, her hands hovering over the pod's controls. Her glowing eyes scanned the surrounding void, searching for threats Alex could not even sense. "This way," she said in her soft voice, pointing toward a narrow channel between floating asteroids. Alex nodded. He had learned to trust her instincts completely. Without hesitation, he pushed the pod forward, weaving through the jagged rocks. Sparks flew from the pod's hull as it scraped against debris, but the alien woman guided him with subtle gestures, her energy flowing into the controls like an unseen force. Suddenly, the alarm on the pod blared. Red lights flashed across the small cockpit. Alex's heart raced as he glanced at the sensors. Dozens of drones had emerged from the wreckage of the ship they had escaped. They were faster, smarter, and more aggressive than the one in the corridors. Their glowing eyes locked on the pod, and a low mechanical hum vibrated through the hull. "We need speed!" Alex shouted, pressing every button he could find. The alien woman reached over and touched the console. Instantly, the pod surged forward, energy flowing around it in a protective shield. Sparks arced across the cockpit, but the pod held. Alex felt a thrill, part fear, part excitement. They were alive, and they were fighting together. The drones followed, swarming like metallic predators. Alex dodged and weaved through the asteroid field, narrowly avoiding collisions. One drone slammed into a rock and exploded, sending shards flying. The alien woman's energy shield pulsed, protecting them from debris. Alex noticed something strange. The drones seemed to hesitate near her as if sensing her power. She glanced at him, eyes calm, almost smiling. "We can do this," her gaze said. Suddenly, a massive shadow appeared ahead. A larger ship, unlike anything Alex had seen, moved with terrifying speed. Its surface was black, almost liquid, and glowing lines traced across its hull. This was no ordinary drone. It was a hunting vessel, alive with intent. The alien woman's eyes narrowed. She pressed both hands on the console, sending a pulse of energy outward. The pod shivered, then shot forward like a missile. Alex's heart pounded. "Hold on," he yelled. The pod twisted, dodging laser blasts that scorched the surface of nearby asteroids. Each shot made sparks rain inside the cockpit. He realized how small and fragile they were against such a machine. But beside him, the alien woman's calm presence steadied him. She was not afraid, and somehow that gave him strength. They zipped through the asteroid belt, narrowly avoiding collisions at impossible angles. The hunting ship followed relentlessly, its engines glowing brighter with every turn. Alex could feel the pod straining, metal groaning under the pressure. The alien woman's energy shield flickered, reacting to each impact, keeping them alive but slowly draining her strength. Alex looked at her. "Can we make it?" he asked. She did not answer with words. Instead, she placed a hand on his shoulder, sending a warmth that filled his mind with clarity. They were not just running, they were working together, instinct and trust guiding them. He adjusted the controls, following her silent cues. A sudden explosion from behind sent a shockwave through the pod. Alex slammed into the console, gasping for air. The alien woman steadied him with her hand. Outside, the hunting ship was closing in, its weapons charging. There was only one path left, a narrow tunnel through a collapsing asteroid. Alex could barely see it, but she did. She pointed, and he veered toward it with all his remaining strength. The pod squeezed through the tunnel, metal scraping against rock on both sides. Sparks flew as they emerged on the other side. Alex looked back. The hunting ship tried to follow but collided with the collapsing rocks, sending an explosion into the void. The drones shot scattered, and the immediate threat vanished. Inside the pod, Alex exhaled, finally letting his body relax. The alien woman turned to him, her glowing eyes softening. She reached out, touching his arm lightly. In that simple gesture, Alex felt a connection deeper than words, a bond formed in danger, trust, and shared survival. But even as the stars stretched around them, Alex knew their escape was only temporary. The hunting ship was gone, but it had a purpose. It had tracked her, and now it knew they were alive. Somewhere in the universe, a far greater threat waited, and the alien woman's secrets, the very reason they had been hunted, were still out there, waiting to be discovered. Alex glanced at her, determination rising. "We survived this. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together." The alien woman nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. They were not just allies, they were partners, ready to confront the dangers of the unknown. Outside, the void of space stretched endlessly, filled with danger, mystery, and possibility. Inside the pod, a human and an alien had escaped together. Their journey was far from over, but for now, they were alive, and they were free. The pod floated in the quiet of space. Outside, stars twinkled like distant fires, but inside, silence was heavy. Alex leaned back in his seat, rubbing his temples. The adrenaline of the chase still burned in his veins, and yet, despite the exhaustion, he felt a strange calm. Beside him, the alien woman sat quietly, her glowing eyes focused on the controls, scanning the stars, for threats he could not see. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Alex cleared his throat. "We're safe. For now," he said, his voice almost breaking the silence. The alien woman turned toward him. Her eyes, still glowing softly, seemed to study him in a way that made his chest tighten. She raised a hand and spoke in her strange language, soft sounds that resonated in the pod. Alex didn't understand the words, but he understood the meaning. "You saved me. Now you must know the truth." He nodded. "I want to know," he said. "Everything. I can handle it." The alien woman hesitated for a moment, then placed her hand on the console. A faint light spread from her fingertips, washing the pod in a soft blue glow. Images began to form in Alex's mind, not through vision, but through feeling. He saw her world, a planet of green skies and crystal towers, alive with color and light. He felt the joy of her people, the peace that had existed before chaos arrived. Then, the vision changed. Fire consumed cities. Dark ships hovered above the planet, releasing mechanical creatures that tore through the land. He felt the panic, the fear, the sorrow of a people fighting to survive and failing. The alien woman's eyes glowed brighter, and a single thought pushed itself into Alex's mind. "I am the last." He blinked, overwhelmed. You were the only one?" he whispered. The alien woman nodded slowly, her gaze distant, haunted. She pressed her hand to her chest, and he felt the pulse of her heart, steady but tinged with sadness. She had carried this weight alone, locked in a cage, left to be hunted. Alex reached out, placing a hand on hers. She did not resist. Instead, her fingers twined with his, and he felt a warmth unlike anything he had ever known. In that moment, he understood the trust she was offering, not just survival, but partnership, loyalty, and connection. "You're powerful," Alex said softly. "Stronger than I can even imagine." She nodded again, almost shyly, though the glow in her eyes betrayed the truth. She was not only powerful, her energy could manipulate matter, protect, and even communicate across vast distances. That was why the ship's defense systems had reacted so violently when they escaped. Alex leaned back, trying to absorb everything. "Why me? Why did you trust me?" The alien woman tilted her head, then gestured to the shattered cage. A memory of him breaking the glass and standing by her side played in his mind. "Because you acted when others would not," the feeling whispered. "Because you risked yourself for me, not for glory, but because it was right." He swallowed hard. "Then we have to be ready. Whatever destroyed your planet, it won't stop with you. They'll come after you, after us." She nodded once, sharply this time, her eyes narrowing. Alex realized she had already been thinking ahead, calculating, planning, preparing. Her mind moved faster than his, but he could keep up if he trusted her instincts. A sudden blip on the pod's sensors made them both tense. Alex leaned forward. Shadows moved across the display, distant but unmistakable. Ships approaching, faster than anything they had seen before. He looked at her. She met his gaze without fear, only determination. Then, she placed her hand on the console, sending a pulse that cloaked their pod briefly from sensors. Alex realized then, they had survived the chase, but now the real danger was coming. She was not just a survivor, she was a key. Something she carried, or something she knew, could change the balance of power in the galaxy. And now, together, they had to face the consequences. He took a deep breath. "We fight together then," he said. She nodded, a faint smile forming. For the first time, Alex felt the weight of hope. He had faced fear, danger, and the unknown and found an ally who could match him in courage and skill. The alien woman turned her gaze to the stars. "They will come," she said softly, her voice carrying both warning and promise. "But together we can survive. Together we can fight." Alex nodded, understanding the depth of what she meant. Their bond had been forged in fire and danger, and now it would guide them through the battles yet to come. Outside, the universe stretched endlessly. vast, dark, and full of threats. Inside, two unlikely allies had found trust, understanding, and a shared purpose. The escape had brought them together, but revelation had made them stronger. Whatever lay ahead, hunters, enemies, or unknown forces, they would face it side by side. And in that moment, Alex knew something vital. Survival was not enough. To protect the alien woman, to honor the trust she had given him, he would have to be braver than ever before. And she, for the first time in centuries, would not face the universe alone. The stars stretched endlessly outside the pod, calm and beautiful, yet Alex could feel the tension in every fiber of his body. Space was silent, but silence could be deadly. The alien woman sat beside him, her glowing eyes scanning every blip on the sensors. She had revealed the truth about her planet, her powers, and the enemies that hunted her. But now, survival was not enough. They had to prepare for what was coming. Alex took a deep breath. "We've made it this far, but we can't hide forever," he said. The alien woman's eyes met his. She nodded, her expression firm. No hiding, only action. That understanding passed between them without words. They had faced danger together, learned to trust each other, and now they were ready to face the next challenge. A sudden flash of light lit the viewport. Alex's heart skipped a beat. Outside, a massive ship appeared from the darkness, its hull black and jagged, pulsing with energy. It was faster than any craft they had seen, and its purpose was clear. It had been sent to track them. The alien woman's eyes narrowed. "They are here," she said softly, her voice calm but full of warning. Alex gripped the controls. "Can we outrun it?" he asked. She placed a hand on the console. A faint pulse of energy spread from her fingertips, surrounding the pod in a protective aura. The ship shuddered, then surged forward, faster than it had before. "We can try," she said, "but we may need more than speed." The alien woman's gaze moved to the sensors, analyzing the massive enemy ship. "It senses power," she whispered. "It knows I am with you. It will not stop until it has us." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of the situation. They were small, fragile, but together they were dangerous in ways their enemies could not understand. Suddenly, the enemy ship fired a beam of energy. The pod shuddered violently, alarms blaring. Sparks flew across the cockpit. Alex pressed every button he could find, dodging and twisting, but the blast had already grazed the hull. The alien woman extended her hand, and a shield of blue energy rippled outward, deflecting the next attack. Alex's jaw tightened. They had made it this far, but the real battle was beginning. He looked at her. "What do we do?" The alien woman's eyes glowed brighter, her energy radiating like a living force. "We fight smart," she said. "We cannot match them in size or weapons, but we can outthink them. And your human unpredictability, is an advantage." Alex felt a spark of confidence. They had survived impossible odds so far, and now it was time to use everything they had learned. The pod twisted sharply, dodging another blast. Alex felt the pressure of the maneuver, the strain on the metal. The alien woman reached out, touching the console. Energy pulsed through the pod, reacting to her will. A new path opened on the sensors, narrow, winding, but navigable. Alex understood instantly. She was guiding them, using her power to manipulate both the pod A and the environment around them. They plunged into an asteroid field weaving between massive rocks. The enemy ship followed, firing relentlessly. Sparks flew from both ships, collisions echoed through space, and the tension rose to a nearly unbearable level. Alex followed her cues perfectly, trusting her instincts, their movements perfectly synchronized. For the first time, he felt not just survival, but teamwork, unity, and power born of trust. The alien woman's energy expanded, forming a shield that rippled outward, hitting the enemy ship. The massive vessel shuddered, its energy fields flickering. Alex pressed forward, pushing the pod through a narrow gap between asteroids, barely escaping a massive collision. He glanced at her. "We're doing it," he shouted. She gave a faint smile, eyes shining with determination. But even as they navigated the chaos, Alex knew this was only the beginning. The enemy ship had been slowed, but not destroyed. They were out of immediate danger, but the threat was still there, vast and looming. Somewhere in the galaxy, the forces that destroyed her planet were moving, hunting, planning. And now, Alex and the alien woman were marked as targets. Inside the pod, they shared a quiet moment. Alex placed a hand on hers. She looked at him, eyes softening, almost human in her expression. In that silent connection, he realized something vital. Trust and courage could be stronger than fear and power. Together, they were more than human and alien. They were allies, warriors, and perhaps something even greater. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, full of mystery, danger, and possibility. The pod drifted forward, small but unbroken, carrying two beings united by survival, trust, and purpose. The battle was not over, but a new chapter had begun. And whatever awaited them, Alex knew one thing for certain: they would face it together. The universe was vast, danger was everywhere, but so was hope. And with that, the story of survival, trust, and courage reached a new beginning, one that promised adventure, discovery, and battles yet to come.